I want to make sure. Okay. Okay, we're starting the Gemara and Zevachim Daf Kuf Hey. We're starting Daf Kuf Dal with base in the bottom. The end of the line starts with the word boy. That's 4 lines from the bottom. 5 lines from the bottom, sorry. The word bai. Last word is boy. And what are we talking about? We just learned in the previous Mishnah the idea of Purim and Yisrofim, V'Sirim and Yisrofim. These calves and goats, they have to burn Beis Hamikdash. Yes, you have to do it's a regular korban chatas Beis Hamikdash, but then you have to burn them out when you go out of Beis Hamikdash. So then there's some of them is the power, either the Purim of Yom Kippurim or the power of the Kohen Gadol, who made a mistake, or the power Elam Dosh Tzibur. So you have all these Purim they need to take out and burn them. The Torah tells us these Purim that you take out and burn them, these Purim make the person who carries them causes him tumah beis habliyah. Tumah begadim. Sorry, not tumah begadim. So the minute he goes out, they carry the big calf and they go out and becomes tummy. Now, what we're holding right now, the Gemara is asking some questions on when exactly they become tummy. So let's see. So the Gemara. Boy Rablos. Purim and Yisrofim, V'Sirim and Yisrofim. Sheyotzo ruboy b'miut aver. Now here's a little complicated scenario. You have the majority of the animal is outside of Beis Hamikdash, so maybe the tumah should happen. But the reason why majority is out, there's one limb. Let's make it easy for us. The leg, right? Because the leg is one limb. I want to make it, one big piece. That limb, the majority of it is still in Beis Hamikdash. The minority is outside the door. The animal right now is majority outside, including the minority of the limb. So what is the question of the Gemara? Did the minority of the limb go based on the majority of the limb? So I look at the limb as if it's fully inside. So now I don't have the majority of the animal outside. Because the only reason I have the majority of the animal is because this minority of the limb is filling it up to be a majority. So right now, let's say the animal is right now 51% outside, but 2% of it is the leg, which is mostly inside. So that's what I was asking. This minority, this 2%. Do you go based on the roiv of the aver, the big part of the leg, which is inside? If I didn't go out, so right now I don't have 51% of the animal, I have only 49%. Or maybe it goes based on the ruba de behemo. You go based on the majority of the we don't go based on the majority of the that. You go to the majority of the animal on the majority of the limb. So this is okay. You're right. I don't like that question so much. Go another question. 50% of the animal went out. It's only 50%. But out of the 50%, you have the leg. 75% of the leg is outside. Do you say the 25%, which is inside, is considered to be outside? So immediately I have over here the majority of the animal, because that 25% of the leg makes the animal be, instead of 50% outside, 51% outside. Or you say, no, wherever it is, it is. Half of the animal went out, including in that is roiv aver. The minority of the aver, we have kufiyah mudaf on top, but so roiv aver shouldn't. You go based the aver is, now you have most of the animal out. Meaning you go wherever it is, and the more says take away. Okay, that was the question. He brings this question not regarding the animal, but regarding the people carrying the animal. What is it? There's 5 people carrying this animal. So 3 of them are outside, partial tray, and 2 of them are inside. My basaroi misasker is leading. Do we go based on the people? Most of the majority of people are outside. But we go based on the behemo, and the behemo right now, not everything went out. So the more takeaway. That's these questions are takeaway. Okay. So try here something. Says the Gemara. So we have kufei amud aleph, and the Gemara is saying like this: Boy Rabbi Lazar, harim v'sirim and yisrofim. Again, you have these animals that are doing chatas inside. They need to be burned outside of Beis Hamikdash. Sheyotzu, they went out. V'chozru, went back in. Right? So you have the animal goes out, we said it makes tumah. But now it went out and then went back inside. Ma, what's the din there? Once they went out, they caused tumah. Doesn't matter now they went back inside. Maybe when they came back, they're back. Right? And it's as if it didn't go out. So we'll see in the Gemara in a moment. What is nafkamina? I mean, the people carried it outside. They became tum. They became tum because they carried the animal. They go back inside. They go back inside to that Beis Hamikdash. So the question is, does the tumah stop because they went back inside or not? So let's see.
You want to know if it loses its finished tumor from going back in?
Is the animal was never tumah. The people that carried it tumah. So the Gemara had to have them. Maybe the people that were tumah now won't be tumah. That's a little hard to understand. So let's see. Tashma, right? We saw it earlier. They're carrying this animal with poles. The people that are in front are carrying with poles, and they're already outside of the Azara. The ones that are outside, they're mitam. Now, the ones who are inside, not mitam. Says the Gemara. Says the Gemara, I don't understand. You want to tell me there's a havamina that once you go outside, it's tummy, and even if you go back inside, it's still tummy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what one understands, right? And we're talking about the guy goes outside, he goes back inside, maybe the tumor remains because once you went outside, it's too late. Like we're taking that side right now. So this is where when I have people that are right now outside, and I have people inside, why do you say the people that are inside should become tummy? Because once people go outside, it causes tumor. You're saying that the exit makes it tummy and you can't stop it even if you go back in.
The people that are inside are still
should become tummy.
Should become tummy because the people outside.
Yeah. Because if you tell me the people that go outside become tummy, even if they go back inside, so the people that go out should become tummy should be tumor the people that are inside. It's a little hard to say the logic, but let's continue on the mahalach over in the Gemara.
Once this animal caused the din in tummy,
a tumor, it doesn't go back.
So it should cause even for
the one inside. That would be
something on the din and how we answered the tekus from before.
Maybe. No, because there was by the majority. But let's see. The pasuk tells us that the pasuk says when the pasuk speaks about tuas begodim, what does it say? The person is v'tab begodim. Then what does he do? He goes back into the machane and he goes to do tahara to his clothing. So clearly the Torah says that the one who gets tumah must be outside and go back inside. If you're inside, now you don't get tumah. Says the word here's the question. Meaning, what is it talking about? He says, we talk about outside. So what are we talking about? Talking like this. You have people that took the animal outside. The animal goes back inside. Now there's people that are outside, different people, that are about to take poles and push the animal from inside to outside. But where are the people situated? Where are they standing? Outside. The new people standing outside. So what's the shiloh? Because this animal already exited once, so immediately it causes tumor, regardless if it's outside or inside, for the people that are outside. That's what it is.
You want to know if the second set of people are going to become tamei?
Yes. Right? So look at Rashi. So he says that the new people standing with sticks outside. They're outside, about to pull the animal outside. Once it went out, meaning the animal. Anybody busy with it? So you have people over here that are about to take out the animal and they're already standing outside. So you see, once the animal went outside, now it causes tumor regardless of where you are.
That's
Says the Gemara Torah Rabbanon, Purim. Purim refers to Purim and Yisrofim. Upara refers to Purim Aduma. The Seir Mishtaleach. What is Seir Mishtaleach referring to? Referring to the Seir Mishtaleach that goes down in Yom Kippur. Hamishaleach, the one who takes them. Hasorfa, the one who burdens them. Ve'amoitzion, the one who takes them out. Metamim godim, they become tamim. Ve'ematzom enim tamim godim, but they, the animals themselves, don't become tamim godim. And that's we went already before. Anybody pulls them out becomes tamim. Tumas godim makes his clothing tamim, and they themselves are not metamim. Only the one who carries them. Aval,
when he says ve'ematzom, that means that
animal itself. Let's say someone's not carrying them or anything. He just touches the animal.
Right.
It doesn't become tamim tumas godim. Aval metamim oichlu umashkin, but there are metamim. The oichlu umashkin, which means they're metamim the food and drink. Why are they metamim the food and drink? Because the reason why you have too much oichlu umashkim is because this animal, as an animal, causes a small tumor. Tumas oichlu umashkim is a small tumor. If you have food or drink that touches it, it becomes tamim. Divrei emir. So they don't make the big tumor, makes tumas god. They make tumas oichlu umashkim. The chayvayim, how you say paro paraduma. Uparim hanisrof metamim oichli umashkim. They indeed cause tumas oichli umashkim. Sera mishtalach eino metam. But sera mishtalach, the one you do in Yom Kippur, is not metam. Why not? What's the big difference between sera mishtalach and the other ones? Sera mishtalach is alive. The other ones are already dead. It says the Gemara shuchai. V'chai no metam oichli umashkim. When do you see a live animal causing tumor? Never find such a thing. So what is causing tumor over here? Only the dead ones. Okay, that's what we say. That's the Bryce. So the Gemara explains it a little bit. Visual America, the Tana Rabbi Shmuel. Ramir's logic is based on the Rabbi Shmuel. The Tana Rabbi Shmuel called Zera Zerua. That's referring to the things that get tumor. So it says any seed that has it in water, so it receives tumor. Mazroim shein soifon litomid tumo chamuro. Tzrichim echsher. Seeds don't make a big tumor; they make a small tumor. So in order to become tameh, they have to have a hechsher. They have to get some water in it. That's the idea of kosher kabel tumah. It's a little thing which is a little hard for us to grasp because today we don't have it.
What do you mean?
But
seed?
Any seed which we refuse to any food.
Okay.
In order for food to receive tumah, it needs to be watered. You have to have water in it. So let's say you have an apple going on the tree. Seed, apple, carrot, anything.
When there's water.
Only we're able to receive tumah if they became wet. If they're never wet, they don't receive tumah. Once they became wet. No, it has to be wet because you want it to be wet, because you made it wet.
Oh, so you made it wet and then something.
So now it's kosher kabel tumah.
Okay.
There's a lot of sugis about that. Wet came, was to rain, whatever. The thing became tameh. So then, how does it become kosher kabel tumah? Kosher kabel tumah, it gets it through water. So what do you see over here? Anything that's going to be not a very big tumor, regular tumor. Tumah's eichlim. You need hechsher. Of course, in order to have tumor, lower level tumor, you need to have a hechsher, which is the water, usually. So excluding over here, remember that we spoke about it earlier in the Masechta. When you have a bird, which is a nevela, which means it died, if you touch it, it doesn't make tumor. But if you eat it, it's called tumas beis abliya. It causes tumor to the clothes. So it's a big tumor. That tumor, chamuro, ain't tzorich hechsher. In other words, in order to cause a small tumor, you need to be prepared for it. Water, whatever it is. Tumor chamura, you don't have to have preparation. So Rameir says anything that's going to cause tumor chamura doesn't need preparation. So therefore, all these animals, parim and paro and sir mishtaleach, they're going to cause tumor chamura because anybody who carries them becomes very, very severely tameh. So that's why they don't need action. They don't have to be prepared. They are always going to cause tumor. So therefore, the metamu says, even when it's alive, usually you need to have a preparation. What's the preparation? Either we're talking about water or it needs to be, dead animal. But if it's alive, tumor. That's only, you need to have that preparation only when you don't cause a bigger tumor. But in this case, they're going to cause a bigger tumor.
The dead animal.
Eventually, the seer mishtalach causes a big tumor for the one who carries it. So therefore, it causes tumor even when it's alive. Okay?
That's a chiddush.
Yeah.
We just said that an animal that's alive.
No, but this, so it was like this. According to Ramir, understand the logic of Ramir. Ramir says, when you're causing a big tumor, I don't care what status you are. You're going to cause a small tumor. It doesn't matter where you are.
We're talking about an animal now?
Yeah, I mean, these parim, paradumo, seer mishtalach, these animals, they cause tumor chamur, because anybody who carries them needs to, his God will come tummy. So they cause a tumor kala without preparation, live animals, I don't care which status you are.
Okay.
But according to Rabbanon, so that's according to Ramir. So the Gemara says, that's Ramir, I understand Ramir. I don't need any preparation. Hello, Rabbanon, Islu, the Tanya of Ishmael, if they agree with Tanya of Ishmael, Philosia Mishtalach, even live animals should cause tumor. Ilaisle, Phil Porim, Minolan, how do you know they make a tumor? Because maybe you need hechsher, maybe you need them to get some extra tumor. Where do you know they get tumor? So Bishlam, if you're like Abishmol, so Bishmol is telling us a rule. Anything which makes a severe tumor automatically makes a lower tumor. But according to Rabbanon, if you see that Sir Mishnah causes a severe tumor and it still doesn't make a small tumor. So how do you know this? The other one's different. He says, right? They do need to have hechsher tumor. Meaning, meaning what? What Rabbi Shmuel is telling us is not that they automatically. This is where the Gemara is changing. This is why it's a little hard to express. The Gemara now, until understood, what Rabbi Shmuel is saying is anything which will cause a back tumor, a strong tumor later, it has intrinsic tumor automatically. So even a live animal should have intrinsic tumor. So that's not what Rabbi Shmuel is saying. What Rabbi Shmuel is saying is that whatever is going to cause a tumor chamuro doesn't need to have a hechsher tumor.
It does not.
Doesn't have to receive water, but it does have to be royal kabel tumor. So it has to be dead. I mean, Rabbi Shmuel is saying not that you're already tummy, but you it's easy for you to receive tumor. So at some stage you will receive tumor. When will you receive tumor? Whenever something tumor touches you. If that animal is tummy, but you're not automatically tummy. You have to receive tumor. That's what the Gemara says. So okay, now says the Gemara. Oh, so what do we read from here? The one from here is the Gemara was asking a question. The Gemara was asking, what happens if it goes outside? What happens if you have the animals outside and the shaila is, does it cause tumor or not? Right? So here's where the question is. The Gemara was asking till now. Let's go back to the Mahalach of the Gemara. The Gemara was asking, this animal, once it went outside, does it cause tumor if it went back inside? So the Gemara wants to tell me something which is say for the time of tumor chamuro, it's going to cause a big tumor. It should have intrinsic tumor on its own, and therefore it should cause tumor. So the Gemara, no, it doesn't have intrinsic tumor. It needs to receive the tumor. That's the tchi of the Gemara. So I want to make sure that I'm saying it correctly. Okay, but say it. Says the Gemara, boy Rabbi Lozo, harim v'seven isrofim, ma'ushi tamu oichlim u'mashkim bifnim kebechutz. Do they cause the tumor when they're inside already? Now that we said the rule that anything that's about to go cause a tumor chamuro causes tumor already originally, will it cause tumor when it's inside Beis HaMikdash? Or only once it goes out of Beis HaMikdash? What's the question? I still need to go out. So there's still a ma'aseh missing. So you say something which is going to cause a tumor chamuro causes already tumor on its own. Say it. Here it causes tumor chamuro, but not yet. Because in order for it to cause tumor chamuro, it needs to leave Beis HaMikdash. So do you say when you have a tumor which is about to happen but didn't happen yet, does it already cause tumor kala or not?
That's a little stretch of a question, no? In this case,
no.
The halacha is that it's only makabel tumor once you leave. So
Only give to him once you leave.
So I'm saying only gives to him once you leave. So then
No, but that we said already the rule. The rule is anything that will eventually give tumah already causes tumah now. The only difference here is they need to do a ma'aseh to do that. You need to get out.
right, but we said also that if someone touches the animal, he's not makabel to him. Right?
No, we're talking about tuas oichel mashkin. Tuas oichel mashkin. The Gemara said before, according to Rabbi Shmuel, anything that will cause tumah chamur later, if it touches food or drink, it will make it tumah. So shaila is, when does that food or drink tumah start? Once you leave Beis Hamikdash, or even before?
Or does that did right away once it's dead?
Exactly. So that's the Gemara says. Basa the Abaye Ada Pashta. After he asked the question, he answered. You're missing a ma'aseh. You still have to go out. Similar question. Nivlas oif Torah Rabbi Meir. That available oif Torah that it will cause the tumah chamura to was godim when you eat it. Ma'ushi tame bekazayis. Does it cause tumah when something touches it? Because it has already tumah. So it says it more like this: the machtalar, if the bird is on the floor, lo yitibayach. Why? Because you have to pick it up. And we just said if you're missing a ma'aseh, does it cause tumah? So to pick it up. If it's in his mouth, really nothing is missing, just to swallow it, lo yitibayach, because that's already going to cause tumah. Kitibayach, meaning what's to be nafkina? Rashi says an interesting nafkina. Just the scenario is very hard. He had in his mouth a chicken, a dead chicken, and he has in his mouth an apple. The same time, does the apple become tummy? The question is when he's holding it in his hand. It's in his hand, and he still has to put it into his mouth. It doesn't really have to do a lot. Is that enough? So basically, it comes like this: things that eventually cause a big tumor cause a small tumor. If you're still missing something to do, it doesn't cause a tumor yet. Question is, this considered to be missing? We have to take it from your hand to your mouth. Says more of kufiyah with base. More really, and the more says, according to Shidduch Kubetz, is his answer. Amalei, he answered to him, no, it's not going to be so it's ready to me right away. There's 13 things that were said regarding an evela of an oif, right? There's 13 different things that are said on it. We're not going to learn all 13, we'll learn one of them. What's the one? You need to have a thought, meaning you need to know, in order to become Tom, it needs to have a size of kabetza, and it needs to join in order for it to participate in food and become a kabetza, you have to have in mind that he wants it to join the food, but it doesn't need doesn't need the water to make it kosher to a chamur. Umetame tumas.
He needs to have in mind that the food that he's eating,
that he wants it to join. Yeah, so let's say
it's a meal.
Yeah, so you have to have less like a kashir. Meaning, let's say you have food which is less like a betza. Less like a betza is not a kabbalah.
Okay.
You have tumas. You have the nivlas oif, and it joined together to be one big piece. Okay. You have to have in mind that you want it to join. If you don't want it to join, it doesn't become one.
Meaning with another food item.
Yes.
Okay.
So you need to have machshava to allow it to join.
It's mashlim the betza.
Yes.
It's not a betza of the.
If it's not a betza of each one, it's mashlim, even without ash, right? Right. It causes to a So here's the important thing to know. The Gemara now was asking the following question. Just to understand. This is another chiluk here in Dini Tumat Ara, which this daf is busy with, a hard daf, Tumat Ara. The Gemara asked, do you say that the bird, even before you put it to your mouth, has already intrinsic tumah, which means anybody eats kazayis of it, it becomes tummy. Or it's not intrinsic tumah.
Only once you make kazayis.
So here's we have to know the kazayis kabetza. Kazayis, when you have something which is already tummy, every kazayis, like any other food, is already causing a problem. Like a person eats something else, eats kazayis, and it's answer. Right. That's already a problem. Yeah. But when something is not tummy, in order to become tummy, you need to be betza. To start the process of tummy, you have to have betza to become tummy. Mm-hmm. If you're already tummy, now you have a kazayis, it's a problem. So the Gemara was asking, do you say that this thing is already intrinsically tummy? So the Gemara yes.
He's always using kazayis.
So once someone eats kazayis, it's already a problem. Now the Gemara says over here, it will get tummy once it's a kabetza, which is not intrinsically tummy. How's the Gemara was asking? Says the Gemara, my love Rameir, that what? So you need to have a tumor of it's not intrinsically tummy. Says the Gemara, Lo Rabbanim, Rabbanim. If you don't want to go totally to the Chedrich to mention over here that this gears is very hard, because Rabbanan also agreed that it has intrinsic tumor when it's dead. The only thing that Rabbanan argued is regarding when it's alive.
Right.
Okay, so let's leave that question aside. The question here, the Rishonim.
According to all sheikhs right now, this should be the same.
So one is asking, maybe it's Rabbanan. Well, no, don't worry about it. It's not Rabbanan. It's Rabbanan. Rabbanan disagrees with Rabbanan. Rishonim asks, Rabbanan don't disagree with Rabbanan. Question of the Rishonim. So one of Aktani Reish, Tzucha Machshov, Ein Tzuk Hechsher. It needs a Machshov, doesn't Hechsher. Uman Shabbos Leis Svara Meir. It doesn't need Hechsher. Again, so this is what bothers Rishonim more. Why are you saying that's Rabbanan? That's also Rabbanan. They hold you don't need Hechsher. Rabbanan did not argue with Rabbanan. All Rabbanan said is you don't need to be when it's alive. But if it's not alive, you do have it. Okay. With the ratio of Meir, Sev and Amir Meir. So it says the ratio is a Meir, Sev is also a Meir. So the Chur, it's all a Meir. And you see over here, it doesn't have intrinsic tumor. So Midi or Yakadis, Sakadis. No, not necessarily. Could be the ratio is a Meir, who says doesn't need a Hechsher. But the fact that he kabetza, not kazais, that's our Meir. So there's another thing right afterwards. If you shecht it or you do miliko, so even though it's straightful, it won't be tummy. If you remember this, we saw earlier in the Masechta. When you have an animal who's alive, you shecht it. There's no tumor. What happens if you find out this animal is a sick animal? It's a treifel. You can't eat it. It's still tar. That's the thing. It's tar from tumas nevela. Okay. Because the shchita makes it on the veil. So earlier in the Masechta we learned the Rameir tells us the same thing works by a bird. When a bird, even though the shchita didn't really work, or the milika didn't really work, it still doesn't cause too much treif. Too much nevela. So it says that now the one is quoting this brayso. Shchita because there is to boso. Man Shabbos Aisva, who's the one who said that's for Rameir. Reish of a sever Rameir mitzvah rabbanon. So in the beginning that says there's no hechsher, that's Rameir. The end that says that's not nevela, it's Rameir. And the middle it says kabeit, so rabbanon. So well, yes, in Reish of a sever Rameir mitzvah rabbanon. That's the one says. Because you're Rameir, will have intrinsic tumor. That's what the Gemara says. Okay, so the Gemara does not says the raya is not a good raya. Don't sit on your chair. Until you tell me the following. Nivlas oiftar le'rameo. Moin lo risha v'sheni or ein moinim risha v'sheni. So you want to tell me like this, that the velo of oiftar, right, is going to cause tumor chamura when you eat it. What does Rameh hold? That when it's something that will eventually cause a tumor, already now has intrinsic tumor. That's what we said before. That's what Rameh holds. Already now has intrinsic tumor. So do you do Risha V'Sheni? Meaning does anything that touches it will come Rishon tumor? Whatever touches it will come Sheni tumor. Is it considered to be a regular tumor? No, he says no. Only something which makes a tumor to a human being, then you count Rishon V'Sheni. Something that doesn't makes a tumor to a human being does not cause Rishon V'Sheni. That's the rule. In order to cause that all these levels of tumor, it needs to cause tumor sodom. Here it doesn't cause tumor sodom, only oichli or mashke. Rashi says because you learn from Sheretz. So therefore, it has to have the ability to be Tami Odom. And this will never be Tami Odom. So the Gemara, a very similar question. I mean, a similar concept. How did nan chiburi oichli meldei mashke? This is another thing, different Indian, different sugya, but we're talking about that food, that when you have two pieces of food, water connects them. So let's say I have food which doesn't have enough shear to get tumor. So you have lesika beitza and another lesika beitza, and you have water that connects it together. So the din is chibur letumur kalov and chibur to a chamor. The water will allow them to get tumor kalov, which means tumor oichli umashkim, but not tumor chamor. It won't be a big tumor. Low level tumor, yes. High level tumor, not. That's the rule. Water, a connector of water. That's how it works. So you ask, moini barisha v'sheni or ein moini barisha v'sheni. Do you count risha v'sheni or not? Same answer. Same answer. If it doesn't have a tumor chamor, it doesn't make adam tam. Because tumor kala is only for ichli mashkim. Tumor chamor is for adam. Anything does not metame adam doesn't have risha v'sheni. So this one just brings because of the last question. When I find a tumor, there will never be a high level. Sometimes you have tumor which is less, but it has the ability to be higher if it touched something bigger. But something that will never be a high level, like the needles of Torah, or like connected through water, does it make Rishon Sheni? No, because it has to be able to get the higher level tumor in order to be Rishon Sheni. That's the end of this one. So for the previous one, just that one thing to take out is the Gemara there said that we have Machlekes Rameh and Rabban. I'm also fixing one sentence I said before was a little wrong. Does a tumor, something that will eventually make a very big tumor, does it have right now intrinsic tumor or not? Rameir says yes, it has right now intrinsic tumor automatically, even if it's alive. Rabbanan say no, it doesn't have intrinsic tumor. All it has is it's able to receive tumor without a hechsher. That's what the Rishonim ask. Rabbanan say you don't need a hechsher, but they don't. The machlokes of Rabbanan is does it have intrinsic tumor or not? And mean we're talking about our sugyo, parmeni strofin, sirni strofin. Does it have intrinsic tumor or not? That's the machlokes. So that was the sugyo regarding tumor v'tahara, difficult sugyo. We went through it. That's what it is. Let's go on a little bit. Let's go on. Says the Gemara. If they both, once they left to see him in the bed of Beis it causes the people that carry it to be tummy. And okay, so the Gemara says, and the Gemara when Misha told us the way where do you burn it? You burn it outside of Beis Hamikdash. It says the Gemara, we know that Laholon refers to we're talking about we have Parah Adum, we have Parah Menisrafim. So we're learning one from each other. So he's saying that that's talking about Chutz Kum Machris and Kan Lemachnachas. Sorry, I'm reading it wrong. Yeah. No, we're talking about Chutz Kum Machris, Kan Lemachnachas. Meaning, the burning of the Parah Adumo and the burning of the Parah Menisrafim is happening outside of Yerushalayim. That's what we learn in the Mishnah. You go outside of Yerushalayim, and that's where you burn it. So you burn it. But Tumas Begadim happens when? Once he leaves the Azar. So even though you don't burn the Parah until you reach outside of Yerushalayim, but once you leave the Azar, you already have Tumas Begadim. Why? Because you've been diving into Sukkot. When it says regarding burning, there it says, as we'll see in a moment. But when it says going to us Begadim, it says, sorry, the last of the Begadim is, where is it? It says, it says only one machne over there. So we see from here that that even one machne is already enough to make it tummy. So the Gemara says like this.
Is it three machines or that's the
three machnes to burn it, but to be tummy one machne. Say, well, how do you know that to burn it is three machnes? You have to take the par out of the machne. That's one. It says machne. Who said to go out three machnes? Remember, the Beis Hamikdash is one machne. Then you have the Azor, the second, the Arba, second machne, and the third one is Yerushalayim. So how do you have to go to the three? Because it says legabi pareido, which is Parah Menisrafim. When the Eido makes a mistake, it says machne sheitzoch lo. You don't have to say machne. It says wherever you do the first one, you do the second one. The first one already says out to the machne. They tell the machne shliyo. So the second time it says machne, it says to tell another machne. Then it says regarding the deshin, it says that it takes the deshin, the dirt, out of the machne. So I've already said that the parah is done wherever the deshin is done. So we know it's the same place. So why it says machne again? Right? So it tells you right away that after three machnes, you burn it out of three machnes, but the two was Begadim happens right away after the first machne. So the Gemara says Reb Shimon. Reb Shimon in the Mishnah says he doesn't come tummy when he leaves the Azor. He gets tummy only when he burns the parah. So Reb Shimon, they always get do with that pasuk. It says machne over here. It says machne by parah aduma. I said that's what he said machne aduma. To tell you they're both out of three machnes, that's where you do it. They're both in the east. So first of all, it teaches for Parah Yisrofim to Parah Aduma that's out of the three machnas. Now, by Parah Aduma, it says in the east of Yerushalayim, because it says that he does it in front of the Beis Hamikdash. It says, V'zo el noichach pnei Or El Moed. The Parah Aduma is done, he's facing Or El Moed. So the same Parah Aduma is facing Or El Moed, also the Parah Yisrofim to be facing Or El Moed. So ma kan la'olam Mizrach has to be in the east. So the one of Kabbalah Kan Mizrach Yerushalayim. That's here has to be in the east. That's how you learn it. So how do you learn it? You learn Parah Aduma from and Parah Yisrofim from each other. Parah Yisrofim is out of three machas, as we said before. So it teaches you Yechezkel the Parah Aduma is also out of three machas. Parah Aduma is in front of, is on the east. So Parah Yisrofim is also on the east. Something more according to Rabbanan, they don't have the Yechezkel because they're learning that it becomes Tubas B'gadim after one machas. So which side of the Yerushalayim you'll burn it? So the one Kedetanya Eichon Yisrofim Latzafon Yerushalayim Chutzam Yomachas. You do it on the north. Why the north? Because all chatas are done in the north. So if I don't know better, I do it in the north. Comes Reb Shimon and says, no, you learn Parah Aduma, we do it in the east. Continues the Gemara and says, basically, a base hadesh and Yisrofim. They're burned in base hadesh. Now this is not a chiddush. We just said it. You burn it where you put the desh, the dirt, the coal of base English. So it says the Gemara. So Gemara's going to ask. The one's going to really explain it. Basically, who's arguing basically? Blazim Yaakov. Whoever is arguing is Blazim Yaakov. Why, as Rashi points out, what is the basically saying? You need to make sure there's desh in there. When you're doing Parah Yisrofim, you have to make sure there's coal over there, there's dirt. The leftover is there. You can't do it in an empty space, even if it's a location. It's not enough to have a location, you have to have actual dirt there. Who's arguing? As Blazim Yaakov. Tanya Shevach Hadesh Yisrael, she yesham deshin. It needs a previous call. It was because it doesn't have deshin. All you have is you have to have a slope. Because Shefach is not in slope. Who said? Maybe they both agree you need to have deshin. They both agree you have to have coal. The only question is, do you have to have it slope or not? That's what it says. Okay, so we don't have a raya in the dark. Let's just finish over here. The one who's burning the Parah Yisrofim, he gets to his godim. Not the one who lit the fire. Not the one who put the wood. Any who's considered to be Sorif, anybody who's helping the burning, he's helping out, he also gets tongue. Yeah, as long as they're dealing with it. Once it turns into ashes, doesn't once it turns into ashes. Once the meat is singed, it doesn't have a time godim. What's the difference between the first mandama and the second mandama? What happens? You take the meat, you burn it, it becomes like black, it's cold, but it's not ashes yet. Is it Matab Godim or not? According to Rabbanan, it's still Matab Godim until it turns into ashes. And according to Shimon, it's not Matab Godim because once it turns into Charuch, it's not Matab Godim. So this we end the parak. Hadrach Tvul Yoyim Beis Hashem. Very hard now for Tur Taharo and to the central Godim. But a Gavaldik way to end this parak Beis Hashem, starting the next parak tomorrow. Okay.
I love the talk about Mizracha or Tzafan Shal Yerushalayim, you know?
What is it?
You mentioned about the Mizrach Shal Yerushalayim or the Tzafan Shal Yerushalayim.
Yes.
I appreciate it. Mamish.
You have to see the Mizrach Yerushalayim. You're there, Mizrach Yerushalayim.
That's right. Zevach Hashem.
Okay, cool too.
Glad have a
see you tomorrow, but you'll be in the plane planning.
I'm flying tomorrow night. I'll be there Tuesday morning in Hashem.
Okay.
Shkoyach.
Cool too.